Hello everybody, my name is Ronald Mullins and this is my first podcast. This is a great medium we have here. This is my first time using it. And I guess what you do here is you talk about things that you know. I'm a painting contractor and I have been for about 3 years now. I've been painting for about 20 years, subcontractor for about 4, and contracting for about 3. I really think that we should always share our knowledge with people. I'm very interested in making the painting industry better as a whole as much as possible. And I'm not worried about my competition out there. My work speaks for itself. So, the first podcast I want to do is about estimating. And what I want to do is I want to help other upcoming painters out there. And even painters that have been painting a long time. I want to, maybe I can say a few things that maybe you haven't thought of to improve your estimating skills. My first podcast is going to be about estimating. There's 3 types of estimating out there that I know about. Well, there's 4. A new one I just learned about 6 months ago. I really don't know how reliable it's going to be, but we'll talk about that too. The name of the game is to land more jobs, okay? And having every tool available to you to land these jobs is crucial. It's very important. And when I was first starting to learn how to estimate, I asked a lot of questions. When I worked as a regular painter, I'd ask questions of, why you chose our company, this kind of thing. I really wanted to know as much as possible. So when the time came that I decided to subcontract and start making my own estimates, I'd have a good idea. Also the web, I searched a lot of web pages, got a lot of advice on the web, and I'm sure that's what you're doing right now watching this podcast. And I have quite a lot of advice, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do when I go to an estimate. I got it all written down. I want it to be as complete as possible, and I want to be as helpful as possible. There's different types of painters out there, in my opinion. One, strictly for the money. As long as the check clears the bank, that's a happy painter. And there's 2, the guy just working to make a paycheck to support his family. That's it. He don't care either way. Just as long as he makes his paycheck every week. And 3, the type of painter that I am, is a quality painter. I'm all about the quality. When I go onto a job site, that job has got to be done to the best of my ability. And if I don't walk away from that feeling proud, and the homeowner feeling proud, well, I stay at it. I'm not going to stop until that happens. And you're going to know when they're proud. You're going to know when they're happy. You got to be a good judge of character, the body language with a homeowner. But that'll be another podcast. But right now we're going to talk about estimating. And like I said, the 3 types of estimating. I've done all 3 of them. I've never tried that 4th new one that we'll talk about in a minute. When I first started, you have the guesstimate estimate. Now, there's good points to it and there's bad points to it. There's far more bad points than there are good points to it. The only really good point that I can say about guesstimate estimating is it's fast. And let me give you an idea what a guesstimate estimate is. You walk into a homeowner's house. We're doing an interior, let's say. Well, strictly I do a lot of interior. And you look around, walk through the rooms, talk for about 2-3 minutes, and you have a number already in your head. Either you throw it out there at the spot, or you go home, put it on a piece of paper and send it to them. One big white piece of paper with $5,000 written on it. No rhyme or reason to it. The good point to that is it's quick. It's easy on you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that number's not right. I'm not saying that at all. Most painters out there, they've been doing it long enough. They know, what it costs in the ballpark to paint that room. But what I am saying, some of the bad points of it. One of the biggest bad points, the homeowner confidence is kind of shattered there. They don't know how you came up with that number. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And it didn't seem like you cared enough about them to give them the time to come up with the estimate they wanted. Another bad point is if they ever ask you, why? Why is a dangerous question with guesstimate estimating? Why is a staircase? How much does that cost alone? Why is it that much? And you want to, when you leave an estimate, you want to have the homeowner just as informed as you can. You want them to feel as comfortable as you can, and more than anything, you want them to trust you. Okay? And the guesstimate estimate thing is really not the way to go. Another bad point to guesstimate estimating is your future profit forecasts. You really can't guarantee of what your profit's going to be at the end of that job, because you really don't know what kind of problems that might arise on that job. So I really don't recommend, if you're going to start right out, guesstimate estimating, because you got to understand, when you're estimating and you're selling a job, you're not doing that. You're selling yourself is what you're doing, and you're selling your experience to these people that don't even know you. You've walked into their home wanting $5,000 out of their bank account to do a job for them. And it's hard for homeowners to find the right painter. It's not easy at all. It's a shot in the dark, and all they can go by, and you got to understand this is a very important point. All that they can go by is their first impression and their gut feeling. And I can guarantee you it's not about the money. It's really about the money. People will spend a whole lot more money on something they feel comfortable about more than they will about something, than a number on a page. Okay? So try to stay away from it. But you got to do what's comfortable for you. You just got to ask yourself how many jobs you want to sell and how serious you are about getting them, okay? Now, the second type of estimating is hourly estimating. I've seen it done. I've done it on a few jobs. You walk around, you have your clipboard and your pencil, and you're looking around, you're guessing, well, it's going to take me a half hour to do this, it's going to take me 45 minutes to do that, it's going to take me a couple hours to paint this. And you start writing all this stuff down, and you get through the whole project, and add up your hours, times it by your hourly rate, and bam, there's your number. It's a little bit of a better approach, because at least you have a little bit of accountability there. You can at least explain to your homeowner, staircase, I got it written down, it's going to take me 6 hours to do it, times, let's say, $35 an hour, and I come out with X amount of dollars. And that sets a homeowner's mind a little bit more at ease. At least it seems like you got your game together a little bit more. It's nothing I recommend either. You really don't want to go that route either. But a lot of contractors are going to do what they know. Okay? It's quick. That's a good point to it. It's a visual system. You have rhyme and reason to it. But it ain't what the big companies do. There's a reason why these larger companies land so much work. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these large companies sub out their work. So who you might have, if you're a homeowner walking into your house for a painter, you don't know. You don't know what kind of quality they do. You don't know what kind of reputation they hold. So that's one of the dangers when hiring a big company. And if you're a little contractor like me, you got to look out for the little guy, and you got to copy and mimic what these larger companies do. Now, but before I get to my third estimate, the square footage estimate, the one that I use, I want to get to this little fairy tale one, which it might not be a fairy tale. I'm not sure. I haven't used it enough. I've guessed around with it a few times, and the numbers seem to come up pretty accurate. Is the floor plan estimate system. What you do is you get all the square footage of the floor and you times it by a number. I'm not even going to tell you the number because I don't have enough confidence in it. and I don't want to lead you in any direction that could lose you a job. There is a number, and I'm sure some people out there know the number. It has been kind of accurate, but there's so much that could be added to a room. You know, fireplaces, balusters, treads, risers, a lot of trim work, crown molding. I just don't know how accurate that number will be. I guess you could mess around with it a little bit and find out. But that's something you're going to need to play with, okay? But I will give you a guess. It's under $6 a square foot. So mess around with it a little bit and see what you think. Now let's get to the estimate system that I use. I use the square footage estimate system. Okay? For a lot of reasons. One, big one, it impresses the homeowners. You get that homeowner and you get your tape measure out and you measure everything and you're punching in numbers in the computer, which I use a program that I designed to do this. And anyways, you punch it all into your computer, and then the homeowner, you got to stop worrying about what you're doing, and you got to start wondering what that homeowner's thinking about you. Okay? And if you want to be a successful painting contractor, you got to put your mindset into that homeowner. And once you're doing all this and you're punching your little numbers in the computer and you got your tape measure out, which I use a laser tape, it's a lot faster. And yeah, you're going to spend a good hour and a half getting these measurements together. But that's the good thing. Any homeowner that sees you doing that is going to think to themselves, if this company puts this much attention to detail in their estimate, they must put this much attention to quality. And to be quite frank with you, most all of my estimates, well, to start, they were a little lower, but as I got thinking about it, they got higher. Because that's when I learned the golden rule. It's not always about the lowest estimate. I had a contractor once that told me, and this is if another contractor is going to accept your estimate. They're in the business. They know what it takes. They know the prices. You know, they've got an idea what it's going to cost to paint a place. And a contractor told me one time, you take the highest bid, you throw that out. You take the lowest bid, you throw that one out. And you always try to focus into the middle. Okay? That's if you're dealing with another general contractor that's building a house or a commercial property or what have you. But the regular homeowner don't know this, you know. So as I got estimating, I started making because I weren't losing any, and I weren't understanding quite why at the time. And then I started making my numbers bigger and bigger and bigger. And that last estimate I did, it was a $12,000 interior that I did. And it turns out my estimate was $3,000 more than their highest estimate. And it kind of flabbergasted me. You know, then I got thinking to myself, wow, there is something to this. When you're on that job, you're selling yourself. You're not selling a paint job, so get that out of your head. Of course, you got to talk paint and you got to look knowledgeable and all these things, but you're selling yourself. And that key point that I want to let anybody know is the more time you take doing that estimate, the homeowners are going to see this and they're going to think the attention to detail thing. Okay? Now, let's get to some other points when it comes to getting an estimate. It's not always about the number crunching, and there's other things. Now, let's get to selling yourself. All right, I got this on my list here, and let's talk about it for a second. Let's start with appearance. Okay? You want to dress nice. You don't want to go into that homeowner's house looking like you got paint all over you, and that's the worst thing you want to do. Okay, yeah, you've worked all day. They should understand it. They put their pants on one leg at a time like the rest of us in America. But you got to remember you're selling yourself. Even if you're a small company, which 90% of companies out there that are painting contractors are very small companies. They're mom and pop companies. And this is what this podcast is for. You want to get dressed up in a nice outfit. Let me show you mine. I'm wearing it right now, just for this video. This is me. I walk into a homeowner's house with my khakis on, nice shiny shoes, nice polo shirt, my logo, and that's how I walk in. I look like a man that's a true professional when I walk into this job site, okay? And this is where another point comes in. Right when I walk into that, wear clean socks. You don't want to go in there with dirty socks. Take your shoes off. That right there establishes respect. And that's one of the first things you want to do. You want that homeowner to respect you. And I'm telling you, there's nothing that screams more respect when you walk into that homeowner's house and you kick those shoes off because you respect their home enough. Now, you've just gained yourself some points there. You remember that, okay? Kick those shoes off and show them, even if they're wearing their shoes, take your shoes off. You know, I guess if you're walking into an old beat-up apartment, you know, and there's trash on the floor, I've seen it all painting. I mean, I've had to move bags of garbage to paint. You know, and any painting contractor is going to run into that. But for the most part, you walk into a decent house, even a halfway decent house, kick off those shoes, okay? That's something you don't want. Number two, you want to talk decent to your homeowner, okay? Seem concerned about their issues. Even if, I mean, of course you should be concerned. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're there. Listen. It's very important to listen. Listen to what they have to say. That makes them feel important, okay? You want to be polite and respectful. We already crossed one respect border by kicking your shoes off, but you want to be polite. You don't want to be swearing. You don't want to be cursing. I mean, you don't want to make bad tasting jokes and stuff like that. Yeah, of course you can joke around. People like humor, and trust me, you want to fit that into your estimate a little bit too if you can. Simple humor. Nothing major and nothing that's going to offend. You don't want to dominate the conversation. Okay? Don't overtalk the homeowner. Okay? They're going to feel like you're pushy. You know, they're going to feel like you're a know-it-all. People do not want that in their houses. Okay? They want somebody that's going to work with them, not against them. Okay? So try not to dominate the conversation. All right, this is one of my tricks. Okay? When I go into a homeowner's house, I don't always talk strictly about painting. I'll chit-chat about their lawn. I'll chit-chat about their neighbors. In good taste, of course. I will always compliment something that I like in the house. And that's one thing I always try to do. Focus my attention on something that's really nice in that house, that's beautiful. And wow, I really like that. You know, compliments always work, but don't go overboard with compliments. You know, then you're going to look like a kiss ass, and that can have a reverse effect on you. That's just one of my tricks. Another thing, big thing, a big thing. Always let your homeowner know that you love to paint. Okay, now this is huge. If you love something, you're going to excel at it. Okay, if you walk in there with your head down, yeah, well, another job, you know, here I am, you know. But if you walk in there, you know, I couldn't think of anything better to do in my life than paint. I've been doing it 20 years, and it's just something I love to do. That is something that a homeowner is going to see, that if you love it, you're going to do well at it. Okay? It's huge. Always let the homeowner know that you love what you do. Okay? Explain that your crew loves what they do. And if there's someone on your crew that don't, make sure they're not on that job site, because it's going to make you look like a liar. All right? Let's go down to professionalism. All right, don't be in a rush. When you schedule an estimate, you want to make sure that you have time to do the estimate. And a bad time, I mean, most painters do it. I've done it. Is do an estimate right after you've been working all day. You're in a rush. You want to get home. You're tired. You want to eat supper. You want to hang out with the family and the kids. Stuff like that. So generally that's not usually the best time. Find some time when you have some time. You don't want to rush through this estimate. You need to let those people know that they're important. Important enough to take the time to address their issues. Okay? Never rush. But on the reverse side, don't wear out your welcome. Don't sit down, don't put your feet up, ask for a coffee. Never. There's a fine line between that, and you'll feel it out if you're any judge of character. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously most painters ain't gonna do that, but I'm just saying, don't take too much time either. Okay? You'll judge that line. Also, know when to leave. Okay? You need to know when to get out of there. The small talk is enough. Body language. You can tell with your homeowner how they're acting. This you got to understand. This is a first time meet. So small talk can come in pretty handy because they want to know a little bit about you just as much as you want to know a little bit about their project and them. Okay? Have a phone number that goes right to your business. Don't make it like you have one phone. And if you do have one phone, make sure your message machine always has your business message. Never a person, hey, this is Ronald Mullins, leave your message, dude. Don't do that. You're looking for professionalism here. Make sure it's a company message, and make sure and try not to be your voice. Maybe your wife can do the message for you. You want to put on the impression of a big company, because with big companies come confidence. That's what a lot of homeowners feel when they're dealing with a big company, that if something goes wrong, they're going to make it all better. Okay? So that's what you're trying to do. And obviously you're going to try to make it all better too, if you're any type of contractor that wants to stay in business. All right? Get business cards. You want to make sure you have a card. You don't want to write down your phone number on the back of one of their napkins and leave it for them, okay? That's going to scream hack to them, and you throw that higher number, they're going to laugh at you, If you forgot your cards, explain that you forgot your cards. And if you don't have a card, use that excuse. Whatever works, you know what I'm saying? But you're shooting for professionalism, and people pay more for a better product. That's why there's such a different price between a Bonneville and a Cadillac. It didn't cost any more to make that Cadillac than it did that Bonneville. I can guarantee you that. But there's quite a different price difference there. And people pay for quality. And they want to see that quality in you. Okay? Ask questions. All right, now this is a good one. Seem concerned about what's going on in their lives, okay? Not, what's your pet's name? Ask them what their pet's name is, okay? That's a question. Hey, what's the dog's name? So you ask where you can put your tools, Make it seem like you're going to be doing this job. That's an important aspect of this, of actually getting yourself into that job. Now, I do it like this, when I get here and I start the job, if I get the job, where would you want me to put my tools? I say it like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's already getting me in their mind as having that job. Okay? So stating the obvious, where can I put my tools? You've already got them thinking that they're going to hire you. Okay? Another good one. Is there any problem with the smell of paints in the house, or any materials that I'll be using? That's a question I always ask. I don't know if the children have asthma, or if somebody in that house is allergic to latex, things like that. I don't know. I want to know this. And that tells them that I'm concerned about their health. Key point. You want to look like you're for them. You want to make sure they're going to be okay through this whole process, okay? And you might want to recommend zero VOC paints and stuff like that. I use nothing but zero VOC, but I always ask the question. And if they say no, it'll be fine, I say, well, I don't want to take any chances. I'm just going to use the zero VOC paint. It ain't any more expensive than the other stuff, and the quality is just as good. I always try to look like the good guy, the guy that's going to help you. I'm the man that's going to make it all better, and I'm going to make you very happy with the paint job. That's what I portray, and that's what I do. I'm about quality, people. I am not about hacking up a job, and I've worked with so many hacks. It just turns my stomach. Encourage questions. If they're asking you questions, they're probably feeling comfortable enough to. I mean, a lot of people really don't know. They don't get their houses painted every day, and they don't know all the questions. So give them questions too. Make them feel comfortable about asking questions. The more comfortable they feel about asking questions with you, the more comfortable they are with you and your company. And that's when you can get the extra $2,000-$3,000 for that job. I guarantee it. Use this. This works. This is diamonds I'm giving you guys. All right. Another key thing. Know your homeowner. All right? Always know that they're the boss. Okay? They're your bread and butter. They're paying your paycheck. And when that check is finally cut, it ain't your name on the bottom of it. It's their name signing that paycheck. You got to treat this like any job that you'd be working for. They'll write you out the check. Okay? They're the boss. Let them be the boss. Okay? Grow up here. Take criticism. If you can't take criticism, hire somebody that can take criticism. Okay? Because you need to make homeowners know that they can feel comfortable concerning a complaint with you. Okay? That was a tough one for me, because I'm so much about quality, but I learned how to deal with criticism. Okay? Granted, there weren't a whole lot because I'm my worst critic. But when it came, I didn't care for it much. And I did learn how to make it all better. And so will you. That could be another podcast also. Okay? Put yourself in their shoes. Feel what they're feeling. Okay? When you walk onto that job site, they don't know you. They don't know if they can trust you. And give off the vibe that they can. Okay? Learn how to be a good actor if you can't then. Go to acting school, whatever it takes, you know what I'm saying? If you're a terrible salesperson, learn how to be a good salesperson. Smile a lot, be happy, be positive. Positive, key. Positive. Be positive, okay? Read the signs, okay? Watch your homeowner, okay? And if they're talkative, let them be talkative. But you can politely still do your work measuring that place out while talking. If they're shy, let them be shy. Don't force answers out of them. Okay? That's how they are. It's important, if they're in a rush, the trick is to be accommodating as possible. Okay? You want to be accommodating to them without stretching your welcome. I've already mentioned that. And knowing when to leave. Okay. Now, presentation. Like I said before, take your shoes off. Estimate. Okay. The paper itself. I've seen those little estimates that you buy down to like Staples or Office Depot or something like that. It's just a little generic estimate and you put a little number on the bottom. I don't recommend it because it don't show enough detail. A nice printed estimate, a program to do this with, which I'll talk about real briefly at the end. Print it out. Me, with my estimates, with my program, I get all my measurements and I start typing my little computer there, and I bring a printer with me and I hit a button and bam, it spits out an estimate and I hand it right to them on the job site. And then that gives them a chance to talk about the number. And I'm not worried about the number because I can explain that number with the system I use with square footage. And a lot of people don't know how to do square footage, but we'll get into that in my next podcast. This one's running a little long. It's about 28 minutes I got going here. Hand them a nice estimate, things like that. Okay, that's my list. And that's my advice to any new upcoming painting contractor. Any contractor that's been doing it for 20 years. It's just tough teaching an old dog new tricks. But I guess it all depends on how serious you are about making that sale. I write Microsoft Excel programming for contractors. If you go on YouTube itself, I have videos for a painter's estimate kit, which I am trying to sell. It's a great kit. It'll teach you how to change your hourly rate into square footage. So you know how to charge somebody for square footage, how to charge them for linear feet, and how to charge them for single unit things. It's a great kit, and it'll definitely get you on the right road. I don't want this to be a sales pitch, but it is kind of a sales pitch. It's a small one at the end. So go to YouTube, type in painting estimate, Paint Pal, That's what it goes on a Paint Pal. Type in painter's estimating kit. You'll see a screenshot of it looks like a screen with a big blue arrow on it. That'd be me. I hope you enjoyed my podcast. This is my first one. There's going to be many more to come. And we'll talk more about how to convert your hourly rate into square footage. I can tell you how to do it on paper. Mine does it just by typing in a couple numbers, and it does it for you automatically. But that's the end of my podcast. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and more than anything, I hope that somebody's learned something from it, because I want to share my knowledge to make the painting industry a lot better. Please post comments. I love comments. Hey, I can take criticism now. So post some comments. Take the good, the bad, the ugly. And if I can do anything to make this podcast better, please let me know. I'm all about it. I'm about quality, the best you can be. And I know in every painting contractor out there, there's a lot more you can be. Don't think you're it all, because there's more that I can learn, and there's more that you can learn. All right? Peace.